Hey, John, how do you feel about indie games?
Depends. Are we talking about the grand series of Indiana Jones licensed games, or are we talking about the independent developers?
Well, obviously, we need a top 10 of all the indie games as far as Indiana Jones there.
Yeah.
We have to celebrate that man. But
Are there
but
10? There
well,
must be 10 out there
there's
somewhere.
definitely more than 10.
Yeah.
He's actually had quite a few games over the time, but not as many as independent games, as which we're actually talking about this time. And at first, when I was making up my initially coming up with our list of stuff to talk about for these top tens, I had indies broken down into just indies of all time. And then I thought about it for a moment. It's like, that is unfair to early indies because, good God, when you really look at it, there are so many indie games out there, and having people choose from about 25 ish years of them, a little mean.
Yeah, and I'd say the medium has evolved a lot too, because like in the early days of indies, it was quite rare that you saw companies try, like 3D games. There was a lot of 2D pixel art games in the 2000s, whereas modern day, it's actually quite hard to distinguish some indies from full Triple H productions because they've got the tools with Unity and Unreal to basically do whatever they want. So it's very different in execution. But even back in the 2000s, it was a pretty common sentiment that indies were giving you gameplay styles that the big companies just couldn't. There were so many indies punching way above the quality of what we were getting at full price. And it's a very different time too, because nowadays you go on the eShop and there are like 50 new games every week, maybe more than that. Whereas back then, when an indie game came to 360, it was a spotlight. It was a big deal. Um, and I think people kind of gravitated towards the same stuff a lot more. So we're also talking very different quantity to what it is now.
Yeah, it seemed to stand out a bit more. Like when an indie hit, you heard about because everybody was talking about like check out this smaller game that came out and it's so different and look how interesting it is. And so everybody sort of just took a look. And it really was facilitated. Like indie scene was always around thanks to PC games.
Mm.
There was there, but it never really hit in the same way. But for some reason, it started really standing out with thanks to WiiWare, to XBLA, to PSN, with that generation of console, and they just became a big thing, a much more noticeable thing, and certainly kept growing. I think like that really helped them just explode after this point because once you hit the 2010s, then you start getting all the like huge indie games that everybody remembers, and Kickstarter helped out with a bunch of them, and they just expanded further and further as time went on. So um, the history of indies is quite interesting, and I think it really shows with the lineup I have from or what was voted on for this top 10 because we got 249 votes total, so modest,
Mhm.
covering 198 different games. Now, the big thing with this is that the variety games ran a gamut because we did that whole section on flash games.
Yeah.
Flash games showed up here, and I'm like, do I include those? Well, it's like, no, those are indie technically, and by the strictest definition, they are very much independent. So yeah, sure, I'll include those if people voted for those. But then you have the other like stuff that's we're still dealing with today. Is a game indie if its publisher is very much not? Is the developer still indie in that case?
Mm.
And ultimately, I went with yes, because a lot of the times, especially for XBLA, Microsoft would publish a lot of these smaller games, but there's the company themselves is still very much indie, and Microsoft doesn't own them. It's just they decided to publish it because they wanted it on XBLA to have that sort of exclusive for it. So there's that variety there that will more than likely come up as we go along, just because of what how do you classify an indie essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes increasingly difficult because you've also got at retail, some publishers publish certain indie titles. So
Mhm.
if a pretty prominent one publishes an indie, does that make it not indie anymore? It's a whole can of worms. And then there's Minecraft. Uh, but you have one distinction, though.
Mhm.
that you told me about just now. So do you want to explain that one?
Yes. So not only is it I'm going based on developer, not publisher, um, that developer definitely changes over time. And one of the biggest ones for that is was it PopCap games,
Mm,
where I included all of their early games because they were still very much indie. There are a lot of experiment, smaller titles that took off. I counted all of those if they got voted on. However, when I was looking up details about it, because I had to essentially research every one of these, like if I wasn't 100% sure, look at the developer, where they were at, to make that distinction with each one. Um, with Peggle, I decided not to include Peggle because at the time that Peggle was released which was in 2009, I think 2 years before they were acquired by EA. So they still were not part of EA at this point. However, PopCap themselves in 2009, it's when the employee list was listed out there, had 450 employees. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, if you have 450 employees, you're not indie anymore.
No. I mean, like, if you look at Nintendo, right? No one owns Nintendo. Are they indie? No.
No.
You gotta draw a line somewhere. I think employee count is where
Yeah.
you draw it.
When it feels like they could be a corporation, it's like, yeah,
Yeah. Mm,
that's when you got to do it. I know you love your Peggle, but I had to cut it
I
from
do, but we've had Plants vs Zombies show up, so Peggle, PopCap have had their due in there.
Yeah, I think I forget exactly when Plants vs Zombies came out, but I think I also cut those just because it was like 2008 or
It was
7. So
after
it was
Peggle, I want to
really
say.
close.
Yeah,
Oh, it was after Peggle.
I feel like it was.
Okay. I can't remember offhand, but I do believe I cut that. But also it's already made the list. It's already
Yeah,
one of the
it's
top tens. So crazy.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's sort of our rules. It's imperfect. I had to make personal judgments. You might disagree. I apologize if so. But what do you say we actually get to our top 10 indies from the 2000 to 2009, John?
Let's do it.
What do you think number 10 is in this wide, wide world?
Yeah, very tricky to choose. Steam was established at this point, but we also had XBLA, and PSN. Um, I'm gonna say World of Goo.
Oh, good choice with World of Goo. That definitely is a indie that I think of
Mm,
when it comes to that time. However, I have a curveball for you right off the bat.
okay.
At number 10, Shantae.
Oh, as in Game Boy Color Shantae.
Game Boy Color, the original Shantae, because yes, that was published by Capcom, but to me, Way Forward still owns the character. Capcom has no claim
Yeah,
to
sure.
Shantae whatsoever, and Way Forward is still kind of indie at this point. So, certainly at that point. But yeah, Shantae at number 10.
That is a curveball. I was expecting Shantae here somewhere, but I didn't really think of the original one. But no, you're right. The company wouldn't have been that big then. Um, and they put Shantae out at like the last possible moment of the Game Boy Color, very very late. GBA was a thing already. Um, and I've wanted one of these for a long time. Like they got really really expensive. I know Limited Run did their own print of like Game Boy cartridges, but instead of Game Boy on the logo, it said limited run. I didn't want that. I wanted a
Nah,
Game
that's
Boy
dumb.
cartridge.
It was one of those holy grails because I didn't come into Shantae until Risky's Revenge. Just I
Mm.
heard so many good things about the original Shantae, but by the time I realized it was already gone and out of print and incredibly expensive. So it was a delight to me when the 3DS Virtual Console released the original Shantae, and so
Yeah.
I actually got to play it. And you can definitely see the love. It is very impressive. It's a lot of fun, but boy, is it rough. Going back from later Shantae games because just the way you explore the town, the way it's very much classic Metroidvania. There's no map. Good luck figuring out where to go, what things are doing. You just gotta get out there and do it.
Yeah. It is very impressive technically, though. The amount that they shove on screen, the variety of colors. Even though Game Boy Color could do more colors, most games just sort of did a few shades. Whereas Shantae, I think it's artistically probably the best looking game on GBC. And it just does some really cool mechanics in there too. And they redistributed this again on modern eShops as well. So not only is there a physical version, but you can buy just standard Shantae. So this is another one that's kind of lived on, through the years.
Yeah, it's definitely able to. I like that it's still very much available to play. It's not lost anymore. It's readily out there, and it's interesting seeing the evolution because it's like this is where Shantae first meets Roddy Tops. This is the establishment of her ability to transform, and
Yeah.
that's the whole big thing is getting those transformations. And I think I had to do a button combination or something like that. Like it was definitely a bit more complicated to do the transformation just because the limited buttons. That was certainly something they simplified over time, but
Yeah. And
yeah.
as Press Play to Jason says, not only a Metroidvania with a map, but lives as well, which
Oh yeah, I forgot the
isn't always the
lives.
best fit for the genre.
No, that's certainly a choice. Thankfully not too difficult of a game in the grand scheme of things, and certainly had ways to mitigate a lot. But yeah, it's a classic, and I think it fits being on here. Again,
Yeah.
I like that it's a swerve, that it's not just downloadable titles. It is you can get a physical release and still be considered indie. It's weird, and God help me when I get to modern indie stuff, like because I saw people mentioning like Claire Obscure is like, oh God, is that indie? I don't know.
I forget what the actual employee count is. It depends if you count the outsourced stuff.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe.
know.
Shantae is the grandmother of all indies too. To the point where like she has like Smash representation. She's a spirit. She's got a costume. She's more than earned a spot on here.
I'd say so. But yeah, she got number 10 at 100 with 194 points. So
Mm.
pretty decent, all things considered. But let's go ahead and move on to our number 9 2000s era indie game, John. What got number 9?
I never know if I pronounce this game right. I might say something that doesn't sound like it exists. Machinarium, is that how you pronounce it?
I
Machinarium?
would Machinarium? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You play as a little robot guy, so I thought it was like machine, or I guess Mac also applied. I don't know, but it's a cool game, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a bit of an adventure game if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I picked it up. I never played it, but okay. Machinarium. I'm gonna struggle with that one.
Whatever it's called. Yeah.
Number 9. Um, at number 9, beating out Shantae by 50 points. Alien Hominid.
Oh, is that another way forward one?
No. This is Alien Hominid was started out as a Flash game and then got a full release on GameCube, the GameCube and Xbox, I believe. It's that
Oh.
you the little yellow alien with the laser gun. That's very Contra-esque.
Oh. I think I have to search this up real quick because I can't
I
picture this one.
because it's the same. It's the first game from the team that would go on to do uh oh, it's Behemoth. It's the Behemoth's first game.
Oh, yes. I'm seeing the box art right now. I recognize this immediately. The little yellow, open mouth, toothy dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd bite the head off of FBI agents and
Yeah.
so forth. But yeah, it did come out on, again, PS2, GameCube, Xbox, all the way back in 2004, which is kind of crazy because it started out in 2002 as just a Flash game. I remember playing the Flash game, and then it got that actual console release where it got expanded. And I never picked it up myself because just the Flash game kicked my ass. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this because
Yeah.
I can't beat this game. This is so hard.
Yeah, this is one that I saw all over the place on on store shelves. Never played it myself, but it's kind of wild how the list has started so far. 'Cause I was expecting it to be like 2006 plus. Didn't really consider the early 2000s in there.
Yeah, this is 2004, 2005. So we actually got a nice range
Yeah.
of games so far. Um, it's I say Contra, but it looks like looking at it a little more. It's definitely more Metal Slug.
Okay.
In that one hit kills. You have a melee attack. Um, you get grenades, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So, uh, It definitely established the Behemoth style. That's for sure.
Yeah, and there was an HD version on 360, I believe.
Yes, it actually still is available. Like it got a it's on 360, it's on Switch, it's on Series X and
Hmm,
PS4, PS5. It's still very readily playable.
that's
Because
cool.
they made a Alien Hominid. Yeah, the 360 version was Alien Hominid 360. Then they took that version and made it Alien Hominid HD.
I see.
So,
Okay. Well, we're
yeah,
at.
yeah. I missed this. Apparently, it got a sequel, Alien Hominid Invasion.
I
I'd
feel like
never
I've
heard
got to
about
play
this.
this. I have very little frame of reference for Alien Hominid.
If you like your shooters, I think you'd enjoy it, John. I
Hmm.
think you would. Yeah. Wow. I did not realize that an Alien Hominid sequel came out in 2023.
Wow. No, heard nothing.
Yeah. Um, that's the Behemoth was huge for a while,
Hmm.
as far as indie games. But yeah, there we go. Alien Hominid at number 9 with 246 points. Let's continue on. And John, what is our number 8 indie game from 2000 to 2009?
I'll go with one I think established the core of what modern indie is quite well, but is maybe not being remembered as well as some others. Braid.
Braid. Okay, very good choice because that was huge at the
Mm,
time. Very much being talked about. Um, However, at number 8, beating out Alien Hominid by 13 points, it is not Braid. Instead, it's another very notable indie game,
well,
Super Meat Boy.
I was expecting this to be a lot higher, to be honest. That this is, I think this is more. It did more to establish indies than Braid did, in my opinion. Um,
I think so. It had that more arcadey feel. Braid was sort of the um thinking man, like the like, look how deep we are type indie,
mm,
while Super Meat Boy is let's get arcadey and weird and fun.
yeah, it's also like it's extremely hard, and so it sticks
Oh yeah.
with you when you finally beat it. And when you finally finish a level, like you see all the iterations of your replays at the same time. So all these meat boys just crashing into saws or falling into pits or whatever. So it's really gratifying to finally pull it off. And one thing great about Meat Boy is when you revisit it, you don't struggle as much because like you've gone through that same level so many times before, even if it's been like a year. You're it's somewhere in your memory to unlock, exactly where, like what jumps to do, exactly when. It's something you can master really well, and it is just really well designed. The original soundtrack on 360 is still the
Mhm.
best. They changed it for like the PS4 and Switch release. I think like some right stuff, but that original version, I think, is just such a vibe.
Yeah, it stands out so much, and it felt like when I when I saw it, because I think it was only on 360 for a while, so it was like
Yeah, that's
one of those
right.
exclusives for a bit before it eventually got ported. So I didn't experience it right off the bat, but I'd seen stuff of it like, okay, you got this Meat Boy, okay, that's fine, that's weird, and then he's trying to rescue Band-Aid Girl, that's weird, and then it's from the villain is Dr. Fetus. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
What are we doing here? But then you get into it, it's just like, yeah, sure, whatever, it works.
yeah. I mean,
um,
it's grotesque, yeah, but it was such a fluid game, with its all its wall jumps and everything, and
mhm.
I don't know. There's just something so good feeling about it. I'd say
Yeah.
even compared to like what Mario was doing at the time with New Super Mario Brothers, it didn't feel as tight as Meat Boy or as fast as Meat Boy. And
Yeah.
just holding down the RT button and doing a huge jump across the screen, you always felt like you're in control while you're able to do such large moves. And then you got all those other indie characters, all those crossover ones who
Oh,
play like
yeah.
differently to Meat Boy. Yeah, I think this is just like a formative, like one of the best indies.
Yeah. It's definitely definitely established a vibe. It's a shame that it struggled to get that sequel out for so long. Was it Super Meat Boy Forever?
Oh, the auto runner. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what do you endless runner thing?
In
Yeah,
this one. Yeah, that type of thing. And then I think that aren't they doing a 3D one now?
yeah, that got revealed recently. I don't know how
Yeah.
far along that is, but you know, Meat Boy was such an iconic game, and then Forever it came out too late, and I don't think people were itching for an auto runner. But this 3D one has the potential to be, pretty huge.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, crap.
We got a problem here.
I have a problem here because somebody just mentioned something. I was like, wait a second, did I not check this? I'm wrong.
Oh dear.
I'm wrong. Super Meat Boy is 2010. It's not in the era.
That probably explains why it's lower than you'd think.
Yeah, because I thought I checked on this, but for whatever reason, I had in my head that yes, it was in this era. So no, we've got a change in top 10 now because it got us. That's impressive that like everybody's had it just of the thought that it was in this. It was this whole time.
It ranks pretty high for being incorrect.
Yeah, exactly. The point that I double checked everything, but for some reason not Super Meat Boy because they're like, yeah, that's 2009.
Yeah.
Whoops. So yeah, Super Meat Boy no longer number 8.
Correct.
Keep that in mind for the next indie section. Instead, so we got to do some revisions here. Apologies for that. I don't know how this is going to be interesting in the edit.
I think we just play it as it is. Just keep going chronologically.
I think so. So we're going to rewind a little bit here, John, because now Shantae is number 9.
Yeah.
And Alien Hominid is number 8. So they just got boosted up a little bit. So, John, what is our new number 10? Just below Shantae. Shantae was 194 points. The next game is 168 points. So missing it by about 26 points or something like that. I forget. I can't tell.
I'm double checking my years now because I was like, what year is Limbo? Limbo's 2010 as well.
Yeah, I double checked Limbo because I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's 2010, but ooh.
God, this is pretty hard now.
Yeah.
I will go. I'm gonna put this here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this here. I know it's probably gonna be a lot higher. But I'll put it here because I think people will vote for it in its later iteration. So Minecraft, because that was 2009 originally, but I think a lot of people associate it that way.
Okay. It is not Minecraft. Instead, we have a tie.
Oh.
It's a tie between a game called Audiosurf and another game called Off.
I know of
Audiosurf. I'll be
Audiosurf.
honest, I have no familiarity with either of these.
Yeah, I don't know what Off is. I know Audiosurf. I remember seeing that a lot on Steam in its early days. But I don't know. I don't know about Off.
Yeah.
Press to Jason knows Off.
Oh, okay. That's good. Well, just for the sake of editing, we'll focus on Audiosurf first, so we can talk about it. But it looks kind of it's racing / music.
Well, a big part of Audiosurf was I think you could import your own songs. So you could put like your own MP3s in, it would change the rhythm of the song. So that was the big thing about it.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of being like a racing rhythm game was a cool part of it too. But there used to be like a lot of YouTube videos where people would just upload their custom Audiosurf songs.
Mm-hmm. The music in the game is chosen from the user's own library from almost any DRM-free format, as well as standard Redbook CDs.
Yeah.
In addition, Audiosurf includes the soundtrack to the Orange Box as part of the download.
I didn't know that.
That's something.
Yeah.
But yeah, your goal of the game is to score points by collecting colored bricks called cars and forming clusters of 3 or more of the same color. So it's actually a bit of a puzzle element as you're going through, rather than racing.
Yeah.
So, that's I've never really heard about this one, but apparently everybody else did. That it was able to get tie for what was number 11 actually is number 10.
Yeah.
So I can imagine this feels like a 2000s era thing.
Totally.
But then there's Off, which is an RPG. That was developed by Unproductive Fun Time, apparently. And then it was remastered by Fangamer and this year, actually, it's being released. The remaster of this game comes out next month, August
I
2025.
thought you were going to say today. Like, just shadow drop it right now.
Almost, because we're recording this on the 15th of July. It comes out August 15th. But apparently music is a pretty big thing because it has a ton of different composers working on the remaster soundtrack, one of which includes Toby Fox.
Whoa.
Yeah.
God damn.
So yeah, it's classic RPGs. You play as a character named the Batter, get new party members, go through, and I don't know. Apparently it's also on Switch. I don't know much about this game.
No.
Apparently it's an RPG Maker game.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we've got to check out Off.
Yeah, see what it's all about. Apparently it has a bit of a horror element to it because there's a review from PC Gamer saying it's a memorable and haunting RPG filled with tricky puzzles, bizarre symbolism, and challenging thematic elements. Often compared to the Mother series, which would explain Toby Fox's involvement. Yeah, apparently it's coincidental since he never played anything of those games until later, the original creator. So I discovered something.
Yeah.
I did not
We're all
really know
learning
much about
something
this.
today.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But there we got a tie for number 10. And this completely throws off all the rest of my my count.
What are we looking at now? Where are we?
All right. So tied for 10, just as a recap, is Audiosurf Off. At number 9, Shantae. At number 8, Alien Hominid. And now it's time for number 7, John, beating out Alien Hominid by about 45 points.
I keep looking up the dates of my guesses now because I've been wrong a lot. I was going to say VVVVVV, but that was 2010. 2010 is the golden year, apparently.
Apparently, I'm so mad at myself. I checked every other one of those. Did not think to check Super Meat Boy.
No. How about Torchlight? Torchlight is 2009. It qualifies.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people going towards Torchlight thanks to the fact that at launch, a lot of people didn't really enjoy Diablo 3.
Yeah, it's kind of like an alternative.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is better. However, it is not Torchlight. Instead, at number 7, Yume Nikki.
Yume Nikki.
Yes, which is another RPG Maker game, very much of the walking variety, where it's like you're walking, getting small little puzzles, exploring, getting like a little character, like it's more about telling a story in a 2D art style.
Yeah,
very much with some horror elements and so forth. No combat whatsoever.
Yeah, very horror-y. I remember there being some quite weird things in this game. Some like how do you even describe it? Like there's some supernatural stuff. There's also just stuff that's plain old weird.
Yeah, it's kind of Silent Hillish in concept because apparently you control a girl who lives alone and she's unable to leave her apartment, but they're able to stuff in her dream starts happening, and that's how you sort of explore. So it is very odd. You're trying to explore different areas and collect effects, and once you get 24 of them, that's when you're able to get to the end. So very much just exploration, living out the vibes, seeing what what goes on, and still has that legacy of it certainly influenced later indie games as well.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of developers in this era were inspired by Mother. I wouldn't say this is outright a Mother clone or anything, but there's a lot of that kind of level of humor in ways, not even humor, just sort of the vibe of it all. And the look at times feels quite mothery. I remember there was one area where you're going like the staircase surrounded by arms or something, and it looks like Earthbound. That there's a lot of that kind of vibe in there.
Yeah, I think it helped that Earthbound could be funny. It could also be a little freaky.
Yeah,
and certain developers gravitated towards one end or the other. So yeah, again, I like the variety that we're getting with our indies, our indie list so far.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, definitely one I did not experience myself, but I've seen the type. I think reminds me of later indie To the Moon in that same way.
Yes, very, very much so.
There is our number 7 indie game of all time. But John, what is our number 6, beating out Yume Nikki by 115 points? Bit of a jump.
Yeah. I'm not super confident in this one. But it did release before 2010, so that's a qualifier. The first Trine.
Oh yeah. God, I had so much fun playing Trine with my friends.
Mm.
Though at this point, it's almost to me an indicator to you that if I start reminiscing about it right away, it's not the right answer.
Yeah, usually.
However, you did guess this game earlier. At number 6, Braid.
Braid. Okay. Yeah, this was a big one.
Mhm.
You know, it was at that time where indies were starting to be taken seriously on like a console marketplace, and this was like one of the big driving ones on 360. I think these days, like Braid came out with an anniversary edition. And it didn't perform very well. I think
No.
this is kind of one that was very
It,
much of its moment.
yeah,
Um,
very much of the time because
yeah,
it's one of those things where it's fun. The ideas are solid. It's a perfectly fine game, but I think everybody talked about the ending more than
yeah,
anything else, where that's what sort of stood out about it. It's like, look how it goes against tropes, and look how it changes things on its head, and look how heady and interesting it is. And then you look at it, and I think a lot of people look at it nowadays, and you wonder, like, it's a bit pretentious.
yeah. I've never really liked the art style much. Like the character
Mhm.
design for the main character specifically never stuck with me. I think it's a good game, but I think the indie scene has it's produced a lot more ambitious stuff than this.
Mhm. But it really should not be underestimated just how huge Braid was. Everybody was talking about Braid. It was, in a lot of ways, it's the precursor to Thing comes out. Let's analyze Thing. Let's interpret Thing. A lot of
Mm,
videos and articles came out about Braid talking about its themes and so forth.
yeah.
Um, and I picked it up. I enjoyed it. The puzzles were interesting in its own way, but once I beat it, I was like, I'm good.
Mm, yeah, I think very much the same. Like this, it's never too strong for me. Like
Mhm.
I've always thought it's just kind of fine, but you can't deny its place in
Yeah.
making indies relevant.
It deserves to be here for,
Mm,
its faults or reevaluation. To me it's very much like how BioShock Infinite came out. Everybody loved it, but then they started really looking at it. I was like,
yeah,
I still enjoy this, but there's elements that I'm not a fan of, that sort of thing.
sure, yeah.
But yeah, we've reached our top 5 for our indies. John, what is our number 5 2000s era indie games? And I'm pretty sure I have them all right at this point. Um, beating out Braid by uh, 40, 39 points. Excuse me.
I have no idea who the developer is behind this game or whether they're indie, but for some reason I'm thinking RuneScape. Who made RuneScape and how big were they?
RuneScape is definitely indie, and I
Okay,
think it was of this era, but it is not our number 5.
all right.
Instead, at number 5, Spelunky.
Spelunky. I mean, this
Yeah.
this is another one similar to Braid, but I think it holds up way better. Like Spelunky has always been great.
Mhm.
There was a sequel like
In
4 years
2020.
ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, yeah. Spelunky's still
Yeah.
terrific, and this is one that it helps showcase what indies are, why they're relevant, and just doubles it down by being a fantastic game as well.
Yeah. This is definitely so this is very much focused on the original version that was released on Windows, because it did eventually get a port on the 360 where it sort of went beyond that, and I think I
Yeah.
even got a Splunky HD at some point. Um, but yeah, it originally came out as freeware in
Yes.
2008. So you just explore all these caves, and I never checked it out myself, but it is an early roguelite.
It is an early roguelike, yeah. Obviously, Rogue is, it predates a lot of this stuff by a long time. But without Spelunky, we probably wouldn't have roguelikes as a common genre. I think that this kind of made them. It kind of put a spotlight on indies in that regard because roguelikes, they last basically forever. And it's very competitive to make your game stand out. So how do you do that? Well, first it's cheap, and then it's endless replayability. Um, and I think that kind of started here.
Yeah, I very much so, and it's cool to just see how it evolved. It has that sort of, it has a style to it. Like you wouldn't think of it. You look at early designs of it, it's like very, very 2008, very indie,
Mm.
very cave story. And
Yeah,
it's like, this feels like an alternative to cave. Like uh Cave Story did its own thing, Spelunky did its own thing,
mhm.
and both of them influenced in their own ways. So yeah, it's amazing how the freeware market really changed things up, and then it got to that wider audience thanks to the XBLA, PSN, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm just speaking from my own experience. I don't know freeware that much, so I'm not a PC player, so I didn't know about this, so I missed out on it. But yeah, it's very solid. Definitely owes its spot. It has a lot of fans. Spelunky keeps getting voted on for various things. It's always around, so it's
Yeah.
cool to see it actually make it into a top 10.
Yeah, very cool.
That is our number 5 indie game of all time from the 2000s. But let's go ahead and move on to number 4, beating out Spelunky by 35 points ish.
Okay, so we've only got 4 left.
Yes, 4 left.
All right. I'm gonna bring World of
What stands out to you as that destined to make the top the top
well,
spots?
Cave Story is for sure up there. I think World of Goo is. I was gonna guess that in this spot. It's a little tricky after those 2 because all
Mhm.
the indies I think of, apparently released in 2010, so they just about don't make the cutoff. I'm gonna keep racking my brain, but for now, I'm gonna say World of Goo.
At number 4, Minecraft Classic.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this would make it. I wasn't sure where because Minecraft, definitely it originated here, but didn't really find its popularity until later. But I hear from so many Minecraft players that this is still one to go back to because the simplicity of it all.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and
There's
there's a distinction between like Bedrock and Java Minecraft. I'm not a Minecraft player. I've dabbled. I've never really stood
nah.
with it. But it's one of the biggest games of all time, and it started from indie roots, so you
Yeah.
cannot ignore how impactful it was.
I said all this before when we did our 2000s
Yeah.
era PC games, because it made that list as well, this version. Um I had a friend that played it, picked it, saw it, talked about it, loved it, showed it all the things you could do. And then it just like, I just, in the fringes, I just noticed it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm like, oh my gosh, people love this. And I didn't think I realized how much it changed from that time, because it really was just like get this little addition, get this little addition. And Minecraft Classic definitely felt more like, let me show off what I can build,
Mhm.
more than even the survival aspect.
Well, yeah, they in live audience, they're saying that the survival stuff wasn't in here so much. It was mostly just about building. Uh,
Mhm.
and I remember early on seeing like some viral videos or images about what people have built in Minecraft. I always found that impressive. I always loved seeing tours of like Hyrule Castletown remade or whatever else.
Yeah.
But I never had the patience to do it myself. But I've had like chill out sessions with friends, just playing Minecraft together. The only downside is they all knew what they were doing while I was just floundering around in the bottom right screen while they did their thing. But it's still fun just to hang out in there.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Kids still play it.
Yeah.
Like, our kids definitely, played it a bunch, not as much anymore. They've moved on to other things, so but I don't know if Minecraft will ever go away based on that, how the successful the movie was.
I don't think so. I think it's probably one of those just eternal games. Doesn't even have to change how it looks. Like they've tried before with like ray tracing updates or whatever else, but Minecraft's just kind of a timeless look.
Mhm. For sure. So, yeah, there's our number 4 2000s era indie game of all time. But it's time for another big jump before we get to number 3, because there's a 240
Whoa.
ish point difference. Minecraft Classic had 492 points. Our number 3 game has 727 points, just to have that range for you. So definitely a bit of a jump.
Hmm. I do wonder about Dwarf Fortress. I never played it myself, but I remember it being referenced in so many like Flash videos. Mm, I want to say World of Goo again though.
Oh, okay. We might be getting into a pattern once again.
Yeah.
At number 3, it is not World of Goo.
God damn it.
Instead, it's Castle Crashers.
Okay, Castle Crashers makes a lot more sense. Yeah, yeah. This is deserving.
Yeah.
Another one of those just very formative ones. And a great like just multiplayer one as well.
Oh yeah. You played this I played this to death with friends.
Yeah.
This was kind of our game. Like it just stood out so much. And just fun, silly. It really established Behemoth. Like this is what made Behemoth as big as it was at that era. They rode off of Castle Crashers for a long time.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know if anything after that really hit in the same way as
No.
Castle
No,
Crashers.
I wouldn't say really. No, they've probably had some hits since then, but this was just a huge one. I've very vivid memories of booting up 360 with the Blade dashboard, scrolling along to the marketplace tab, and just seeing Castle Crashers just highlighted as like the big thing. And it was the big thing. That was like a pillar of the 360 at one point.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a selling point of the 360 for a
Yeah,
while. It was just there. And it just the way it it really did help bring back the beat 'em up genre, because that had disappeared for a while. But to have
you
something
had.
new there, have that 4 player, I think, did it have online? I can't remember
I
if it
think
had
it did
online.
have online. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you're right. That genre pretty much died with 16-bit. I mean, I'm sure you can find a few PS2 era games that have it, but not many. And I think this just showcased that XBLA could revive those smaller genres. Like we had quite a lot of fighters and beat 'em ups revived with online play. Um, and then you get a lot of platformers revived because it felt like platformers couldn't really live outside of Nintendo. But then we had like Meat Boy and Braid and all that come back. So it's
Mhm.
very much just a second chance for a lot of these genres to live on again. And yeah,
Yeah.
this was definitely the forefront for beat 'em ups.
Yeah, and having each of the characters be a little bit unique, and I remember there being just a ton of characters and tons of stuff to unlock and find, and still had that weird Newgrounds humor, because
Yeah,
you have the set. Isn't there a section where you ride on deers and one of them is just constantly pooping their way
yeah,
forward or something like that?
uh,
And some of the crazy animations, like it was weird, but it was also impressive looking,
yeah,
which is
very
a
much so.
interesting combination.
Mm,
But yeah, this one I definitely played. Definitely defines that era of indies for me.
yeah,
Um, so yeah,
great pick.
Castle Crashers at number 3. But we've reached the top 2, and number 2 beat out Castle Crashers by 130-ish
Oh.
points. So another big jump.
I think I've given up on World of Goo. I think they've shown their true colors. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Cave Story is one of these. I don't know what the other one is. It could be Dwarf Fortress, but I don't know how big that is still. It used to be big. So I think I'm gonna play my chips and vote for the one that I do know, even though I kind of expect it to be number one. But Cave Story at number 2. And if it is, if it isn't, if I guess if it is, then I have no doubt number one is.
Oh, okay. At number 2, World of Goo.
Okay, we're okay. We're fine. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good audience. Yeah, what a cool one. Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah. This was like the defining WiiWare game, I'd say. Like,
Yeah, for me, it was this and Lost Winds, but I definitely
yeah,
played this way more than Lost Winds. Like this one just there's something about that style, the puzzles, how you worked it all out. It was perfect for the Wii console.
yeah. The music was a huge part of it too. But it was so simple and clever. I think this is outright one of the best Wii games in general. And it gets left off of like a lot of top 10 Wii lists because I think WiiWare usually gets forgotten about.
Yeah.
But it's just so ingenious. You know, it's a game that you just play by pointing and clicking, so it's great on PC as well.
Mhm.
But it's just building little bridges out of goo guys, and the physics kind of make it all. Like you've got to really balance your bridges, and they expect you to do some wild stuff like build with sticky balls up like two ledges, or attach balloons to them to make them fly. It does a lot with its very simple premise, and they did a sequel like 2 years ago, which is good, but
Yeah.
it's also like it's more of the same after so much time. And I
Mhm.
think the first game kind of it did everything it needed to do to the point where the sequel's worth playing, but it won't hit you with that impact the original did.
Yeah, how do you change it up at that point? Like
Yeah.
you almost wonder if they've exhausted all their ideas because it is just so complete. But it's funny to me how ubiquitous World of Goo is
Mm.
because I associate with Wii, but it has come to PC to the point where I'll take my son Kai to the library at times. They have the little kids corner and they have these little computer games set up, computer station set up where they have a bunch of kid games that teaches math and letters and all that stuff. But I always see that one of the options is World of Goo,
Ah.
which when you think about it, yeah, you want to teach kids physics and building and mechanics, it
It
does
also
work as
teaches
kind of
them like
educational game.
anti-capitalist whatever. There's
Well, yeah,
stories
we
about.
gotta teach the kids to fight the man.
Yeah.
What are we doing otherwise?
Yeah, it is a good game for that though. It's a great game of teaching how to build structures. You know, like it's about physics. That's the main point of the game. This is one that my wife got into a lot as well. When it came to Switch, we both took turns playing in the touchscreen, the handheld mode. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
it's good there as well.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
so great with the gyro pointer, but very good with touchscreen. It's on phones, I believe, as well. It's good there. Yeah, I think it's just such a simple premise, but it manages to stand out easily as one of the, like, highest quality indies of all time.
Mhm. Yeah, it's well worth playing. I certainly had a blast with it. I did not pick up the sequel. Again, I felt complete, and I associated so much with pointer controls that the
Yeah.
fact that it on Switch, it just wasn't as exact. I'm like, and I never thought to pick it up on PC for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think you're fine not playing the sequel. It's good. It is if you find the time to play it, you will have a good time with it. But, there's other stuff to play, and I don't think anyone really needed World of Goo 2.
No, uh, they got that company got weird with their next one. Wasn't their next game just burning things in
Yeah,
a
it's,
fireplace?
what's it called? Graceful. No, not no, no. What was it called?
Um,
Little Inferno. Little Inferno is
Little
what it's called.
Inferno. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. But I remember some people really enjoying that one, so I'm like, all right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, they had World of Goo money at that point. They could do what they wanted.
Yeah. Looks like looking through their lineup, I was like, because I only played their World of Goo, but they did Little Inferno, Human Resource Machine,
Yeah,
7 billion humans, and then World of Goo 2.
yeah.
So yeah, that's it made it in here, John.
I'm glad. I'm glad it did. I think this is a good spot for it.
Yeah. All right. It's time for our number one 2000s era indie game of all time, beating out World of Goo by 540 points, something around there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a massive jump.
This is Cave Story, right?
At number one, it's Cave. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It's Cave Story.
I'm not shocked that the point gap is so large. I think this is just far and away, you know, not just historically for indies. I think it's just one of the more impactful games of that era. And people, they've a lot of these games have come and gone. I think like they look at Braid, very of its time. World of Goo,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit of its time.
A little bit.
They'll still hold up, but their significance and popularity kind of faded. Cave Story has never really waned. You know, it's always been relevant.
Yeah, it sticks with you. They've released it enough times. They've added stuff to it. Like it's crazy how many different ways there are to play with it, but it's still that basic version that's still a lot of fun to go through and explore, and it's timeless in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't think like I never played the 3D version that was on 3DS, um, but I never tried the co-op. I watched the co-op playthrough, and it looks like a nightmare.
But it is a
It's like,
nightmare, yeah. I've played most versions. So the 3DS version was the one that I finished for the first time. So I dabbled in the free PC
oh,
version to begin with, and I liked it, but for some reason didn't finish it. And then I tried Cave Story 3D, which going back to now, I'd rather play, you know, the classic pixel one. But I enjoyed it at the time.
mhm.
Um, and there's just such a cool vibe to Cave Story. And it came at a point where we didn't really have Metroid games. Like we just had Metroid Fusion, and then after that, there was a bigger lull for Metroid in general. Um, and like Castlevania kind of kept that going with the Igavania games, but
Mhm.
Metroid was just kind of done. Which, you know, fast forward to today, most indies seem to be Metroidvanias, but Cave Story was kind of the first to really make that a
It
staple.
it kicked it off, but
Yeah,
and that's the funny thing that with when I play Cave Story, and I even did that when I tried to do that whole search action show for the channel. I came to the conclusion that Cave Story isn't really a Metroidvania. It
yeah,
feels like a Metroidvania, but it isn't in how you explore because it is very much linear. There's bigger areas that you can explore, but where you go from place to place, you don't get abilities that allow you to get stuff later. You just go from there. It's like it doesn't change stuff, but that doesn't change the fact that it feels like a Metroidvania.
I think some of its moments are optionally Metroidvania, 'cause
Mhm.
there's parts of the game where you can get optional weapons if you return, with a specific weapon. So, like, the machine gun that lets you sort of fly at level 3, if you use that to, like, get back I see if I'm remembering this right, but I know you can get
Mhm.
back to the first part of the game, where you originally get your little pop, start gun. If you get there, you can get another weapon, like, going back to the beginning. So there's definitely ways that you can optionally return
Yeah,
with new abilities, but
and
yeah.
it also helps the fact that you get the health increase, and it's the Metroid jingle.
Yeah, it sounds just like it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think the way it flows is just so cool, and then there's all the
Mhm.
optional paths, which games weren't really doing. Like, even in the AAA
No.
space, not many games were doing that. And it felt cool to be in on the secret on the internet and to master all the other paths. Finally beating, like, the true final boss is a huge accomplishment.
Oh my god, that thing's so hard.
It's like a rite of passage, I feel, to a finished Cave Story. Like, it once you've done that, you're part of the club.
Mhm. Yeah, and really memorable characters. Like you have a
Yeah.
lot all the rabbit people, but then you have everybody knows Balrog.
Yeah.
I think I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
seeing Balrog plushes at PAX East for a while.
Mm.
Like it it just stands out. And I mean, it was almost guaranteed to be here because it cracked the top 10 of all PC games of the era. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
of
If it
course.
can break into the mainstream like that, it is gonna definitely top the PC games as well.
Yeah. I think there's just so many cool pillars of Cave Story. The soundtracks, I think, is one of the coolest in a game. All the weapons feel good, and the level up
Mhm,
system is unique. It just incentivizes you not to get hit, and then you get rewarded with all these really cool powers.
mhm.
Um, and the story is interesting, but it doesn't hit you over the head with it. Like there's
No,
dialogue there, but you can skip it all really fast and just treat it as a fast game. It's fun to speed run. It's fun. It's fun to play differently. Yeah, I think this is it's easily my favorite indie of this time.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. It's one I had to come around on a little bit, but when I did, like when I really started accepting what it does for the genre, what it does as an indie, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely up there as one of the best. Cool stuff all around. But yeah, there is our top 10, technically top 11. Sorry about the Super Meat Boy confusion. Remember it for when we get to 2010 to 2019 era.
Yeah. I mean,
Please
it's
check your dates
impressive it got
because
so high for a game that doesn't qualify, so,
I know, right?
yeah.
Oh God, I can't believe I messed that up. I tried to double check so often, but just a reminder that hey, I don't always catch it, so you guys should. Don't put all the work on me. There's already a lot of counting involved. But yeah, there is our top 10, technically 11 games of all time for the 2000s era indies. But John, would you like to hear about the rest of the lineup? What didn't quite make it? Let's get our top
Let's see. I
50.
mean, we've heard of one of them because there's a joint top 10, right? So where are we
Yeah,
now?
so technically, I mean, both are making it in. So because they tied, I'm not going to discount one just because, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So technically, our number 12 game that top of the top indies, Machinarium.
Cool. Yeah,
So
I
almost.
love this one. I think this is when I was really getting into PC gaming, and this was quite a new one. And it's kind of got the staples of the genre. You know, so there's times where you've got the right item and you're just clicking everywhere until you find the right spot to use it in. But there's a charm to that, and it never gets too obtuse. A lot of cool things like you can make your robot taller and smaller. And the art style is just really nice and cozy. Yeah, I think this is on Switch as well, if I'm correct.
I think so.
Yeah, it should be
I
good
I
there.
have it on PC, but I've never really gone through
Mm,
it. I think I got some sort of bundle where I got a bunch of indie games, and I just never
cool.
got a chance to play through it. But its art style always stood out to me.
Yeah,
So, number 13, Toho Yo. These are numbers, I think, but Toho Perfect Cherry Blossom.
we're
I'm not
skirting
going
a
to
bunch
do
of
the other.
Toho games here, and I've not played
Yep.
any of them.
I wondered if Toho would make the top 10, but
Mm,
not quite enough. Perfect Cherry Blossom ended up getting the most, but you want your indie shooters? Here's your indie shooters. These are your bullet hells. Like, good God, I've seen screenshots. I'm like, how?
yeah. I had a friend who was super into Toho. I think he still is. He got me into shmups in general, so I played like a lot of Dodonpachi and Death Smiles because of him. But
Mhm.
never tried Toho for some reason. I probably should.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how many games came out. They would just again the indie scene for Toho, and the fact that it was able to grow to the size that it is incredible
Mm,
because it's literally just a guy developing it, taking it to a Dojin convention in Japan. I sold 20 copies. Amazing. And then the
yeah,
next one comes out and more people are interested and so forth and so forth. And eventually it's just like, yeah, if you want to use the characters, that's fine. Just here's some rules, but and then the characters get to be put into whatever genre the people want. And even beyond the bullet hell, and you have they just established ones. So amazing.
totally.
At 14, Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, so this was referenced all the time, but I don't really know what a Dwarf Fortress even is, to be honest.
I don't either. It sounds familiar, but I'm not too familiar. Apparently, it's a management game, but it's extremely simple, like almost Atari-ish graphics.
Mm,
So that's again getting experimental there. It's
that's
also
it.
funny how the indies had to kind of go through the eras like regular games did, where for a while it was all like 8-bit
Oh
style
yeah,
games, and then we got all 16 bits, and now it's just sort of all over the place. We're getting
that was
3D
whatever it
ones and
wants to
so forth.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. At 15, Flower.
I didn't consider this an indie game. Mm,
Exactly. It is. I this is why I emphasized I went by developer because this was published by Sony, but that game company, especially at this point, absolutely indie.
wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Flower's awesome.
Yeah, I love Flower. Short, sweet, beautiful. Really enjoyed it. Great use of the 6 axis
Six
as well.
axis. Yeah. 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 Totally.
So, At 16, Lost Winds.
Yeah, I love Lost Winds as well. Like a really clever one, a platform with no jump button, and you jump with gusts of wind. They're just really cool use of the Wii remote pointer.
Yeah, very cute.
Mm.
And now it's shown and all that. So yeah, I was happy to see it here. At 17, N plus.
I've recognized that name, but I can't picture the game.
I've not ever played it myself because it's a whole series. You got N, and then you got N plus, and then N plus plus, and N plus actually, originally came out on the 360, but it got ported to the DS and the PlayStation Portable. It's just very simple graphics platformer.
I do recognize this. Yeah. There was, if I remember, it's just very fast paced, very quick. Yeah, very simple. But I remember seeing this quite often. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I lost my place. Sorry. At number 18, Toho, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil.
What's different about this one? More
I
bullets.
I couldn't tell you what the differences are. I have no idea. Number 19, La Mulana.
So many of these are really familiar, but it's been years.
I believe La Mulana is another one that's definitely a bit more, not Metroidvania-ish, but it was inspired by the MSX games of the days, specifically the Maze of Gallius. Okay. So, very much one room, figure out how to get through it and explore and whatnot. And then it got, I think it also got a sequel later on.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, another just again great massive legacy, well worth checking out. I just not played it myself. At 20, Geometry Wars Retro Evolved.
I was expecting that somewhere, not in the top 10, but yeah, this is also a pretty big one.
This was the selling point for a lot of people for their Xbox 360s for a while. I felt like this like you had a 360, you paid for XBLA, you got Geometry Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
Just fun stuff. At 21, Bit Trip Beat.
Oh, the Bit Trip games. Yeah. Yeah. What year was Runner? Was that after 2010?
I think Bit Trip Runner was after 2010.
Yeah, because I feel like Runner's usually the go-to Bit Trip.
Yeah, because Bit Trip Runner was 2010. Beat was 2009.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Again, 2010 is when the indies exploded.
Yeah, that year is apparently one of the best for indies of all time.
I guess so. At 22, Torchlight.
Yeah. And we talked about it earlier. It's basically what people wanted Diablo to be. Yeah.
It's like you don't like what all this shop stuff that Diablo 3 is doing. Here, play Torchlight instead.
Yeah.
23, I Want to Be the Guy.
Yeah. I had a friend who was really into this, to the point where like he knew it like the back of his hand, and he introduced me to it. And
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the patience for it.
No.
I can get stubborn, but I don't think I have the patience. At 24, Trials HD.
Oh yeah. I guess I didn't consider the Trials games either. There's a lot of like flash rip-offs of Trials. To the point where I experienced those before I experienced regular Trials. But this is just a really cool one. Trials is still cool. Just simple balancing on a bike, but a lot of really tough levels in there. Yeah,
absolutely. I've seen it played, not played it myself, but it always looked interesting. The balancing aspect was definitely the most interesting part.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the only part I think about it. But anyway, at 25, N. So the game before N plus.
Predecessor to N plus. Yeah.
Yes, this was the freeware version. So got expanded on later. At 26, we got a tie between Aquaria and Psychonauts. And Psychonauts was one of those I had to consider, but like, no, early on, Double Fine, like they got releases, they had talent, but I think they're still considered indie.
Yeah, they definitely toe the line, don't they?
Yeah, it's so close because it's one of those weird things. Like, is um, Brutal Legend an indie game because it's out that of that era? But then you look at Costume Quest, it's like, yeah, it's an indie game. That feels like an
Yeah,
indie game. I
sure.
I don't know. I didn't. I was like, it's fine. It's there. It didn't get into the top 10, so I don't have to really think about it. And Psychonauts already made a top 10 elsewhere, so I'm like, whatever. It's like doesn't matter too much in the end. But there's a debate for the ages.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, Aquaria, likewise. I had a friend who had it, but I never experienced it firsthand. I always thought it looked cool, though.
Yeah, for sure. 28, another pretty big XBL game at the time, Splosion Man.
Oh yeah, Explosion Man. Yeah, this was another one. There's a few that just sort of highlighted the marketplace quite often. It was like it was Explosion Man, Limbo, Braid,
Meat Boy.
Me Boy. Yeah, they're always there. Like, please click on the marketplace.
Yeah. At 29, Flow.
Oh, Flow. Yeah, sure.
This
Yeah,
is that game company's first game, right before
yeah.
Flower.
I didn't consider them at all when making my list. But yeah, no,
It's
they had some of the coolest PS3 games at the time.
Yeah, I checked out most of them.
Yeah,
They were just a great time. At 31, Toho Mountain of Faith.
yeah.
Yep.
Sure there's a lot more bullets.
30 at 32, Knit Stories.
Knit Stories. Not sure
KY
what that is.
KNYTT.
Hmm. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that one. I think it's one of those games you sort of make your own stuff on it. I don't know.
Oh,
Uh Indies go far and wide.
yeah.
That's for sure. Tied at 33, I made a game with zombies in it and Gary's mod.
And Gary. Okay. I can't remember what the first one there is.
I don't I know it has like a lot of like it's almost leak speak and how it's like shown.
Yeah.
um it's again simple, almost Atari-ish graphics. It's done by the guy who previously did the Dishwasher, Dead Samurai.
Hmm.
That rings a bell. Um yeah. Just I think I think it's a twin stick shooter.
Yeah. Mm. My
So
friends and I play Gary's mod a lot. Just like a chill out hub. We also like made little videos in it. It's fun to learn how to animate the NPCs a bit as well. Like you can either just play little game modes in there, or you can try and make things. It's a cool, very cool chill out game.
yeah. Um at 35, Trine.
Trying, yeah, sure.
I I had a blast playing this with friends.
Yeah, and this is one of the few indies that wasn't like pixel art. It's just like
No, it was
2.5
actual
D.
simple 3D
Yeah,
in on a 2D plane. Look
yeah,
look beautiful and got a ton of sequels.
yeah. There's a bunch. Yeah,
At 36, another one I would not have considered indie, but I looked into it and yeah, it kind of is.
mhm.
Serious Sam, the first encounter.
Yeah. I never considered Serious Sam an indie.
It doesn't feel like an indie, but I look into it. No, it's definitely an indie. It's just a small team. I think it's from let's see, from Crow Team, a Croatian video game developer.
Wow,
So
cool.
yeah, uh, makes sense to me.
Yeah,
They would also go on. I didn't realize this. They would go on to make the Talos Principle.
I didn't know that either. We're learning so much today.
We are, aren't we? Tied at 37, Pathologic and Angry Birds.
Angry Birds. Ah, I
Yeah,
I
I think
didn't even
Rovio is
think about.
still small enough. Like it became huge thanks
Yeah.
to Angry Birds, but when Angry Birds was released, I think they were still in indie.
Was that their debut game, Angry Birds? Did they just come out of nowhere with Angry Birds, or was there something
I
prior to that?
I think they might have had something prior. I think they were just like I think it was one of those times where they just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's Angry Birds came out. Oh they were making stuff for like N-Gage and Java,
Oh,
with
okay.
stuff like that.
I mean, at
Little
that point, phone games were nothing really. Like you had a
yeah.
few arcade ports, you had Snake, and Engage tried to consolize it, but I think Angry Birds is what made everything. It's what defined a phone game. It wasn't trying to adapt
Mhm.
controller controls to a touchscreen or a keypad. It's like, okay, what if your input is the game? Like, what if we're not trying to make a button? What if you just swipe the screen and that's it? From there on, I think that all the other developers were like, "Oh yeah, what if we made phone games around being on a phone?"
Yeah, and here's the crazy thing, like, all those other games that they were developing and made before Angry Birds, uh, a lot of these that are being listed here, like, around, you know, from 2005-ish to 2009, when right before, Angry Birds was released,
Mm.
they released 52 games. Angry
Whoa,
Birds actually 51, Angry Birds was their 52nd game they ever made. That's how much they were cranking these out.
crazy! Yeah, I didn't know I didn't know who they were before Angry Birds.
Nope, not a clue. So, and then, fast forward to 2023, Sega purchased them for $776 million.
Yeah.
Sure. As for Pathologic, never really played that one, but I think it's more of a Russian indie game dealing with, well, pathogens. Anyway, let's go to number 30, number 39, another tie, this time between Ika-chan and Geometry Wars Retro Evolved 2.
Mm, can't
Ika-chan,
picture
if I
that
remember
first one.
correctly, is the other game from the creator of Cave Story. Played a little squid.
Oh, I do know that one. Yeah, yeah. Never quite caught on as much as Cave Story, but it is good.
You don't really hear anybody talk about Ika-chan that
No.
much. It really did just to sort of stay as a one and done, which is a bit of a shame, but
Mm,
it it happens sometimes. But and Geometry Wars, I just assume it's just more Geometry Wars.
yeah,
So
yeah.
um let's see. Let's see, sorry. At number 41, Lost Winds 2, Winter of the Melodious.
It's good. It is just kind of more Lost Winds, but that's not a bad thing.
Nope. Three-way tie at 42 between Ikaruga, Tsukihime, and Nyx Quest Kindred Spirits.
Is Ikaruga an indie?
That's another thing. Is Treasure an indie?
I think nowadays they are when there's like four of them. But I don't know how much stuff they
Yeah.
had when they made Ikaruga. Uh, but yeah, I think it is one of the coolest games of all time, though. So I'll gladly have it here.
Yeah. It's not enough to make any kind of difference in the grand scheme of thing, but I
Yeah.
guess like Treasure's always been kind of its own thing
Yeah.
for a long time, and they never got like huge. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess obviously it worked for these other big companies, but it's sort of like the same idea as like, is Cadence of Hyrule an indie game because it was just because the developer was indie, even though they worked with Nintendo?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Indies are weird. And then, yeah, and I think that was one of their self-published titles, so we'll go with it. Why not? At 45, Toho Imperishable Night.
I've really got to try out a Toho.
Yeah, they put out a lot.
Yeah.
At 46, Iji, IJI.
IJI. Do I recognize
I
this? Mm,
Platform shooter Metroidvania looks very flashist,
not sure I do
flashy.
recognize this.
I'm not familiar with this one. So,
Mm,
all right. There you go. Definitely early PC. At 47, Osu.
Osu. That sounds really, really familiar.
I feel like I'm blanking on this one as well. It's 2007. Uh, a freeware rhythm game.
I think I remember. This is another one. I think I remember seeing a lot of YouTube videos on this one. And I think
I
they're
see
mostly
why.
from Japan.
Yeah, I see why it's called Osu, because it's basically taken the gameplay of the Uendon series, because it's
Yeah.
Osu Tatake Uendon, and here you go, make your own.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think I remember seeing this recommended a lot on YouTube for some reason.
I don't know why, but there you go.
Yeah.
At 48, Melty Blood fighting game,
Okay.
definitely a smaller one. At 49, Reset Tier and Item Shop's Tale.
Okay.
So it was a cute one that always had on my wish list on Steam, but just never ended up picking up. You run a fantasy RPG item shop, and you get the items so they can equip adventurers.
There was another game like that on 3DS. Part of the like Liberation Maiden and all that. I forget what it was called.
Oh,
Similar premise to that though.
yeah, it's popped up a few times over the years, but I think this is one of the earliest.
Yeah.
And finally, at number 50, Toho Subterranean Animism. Jeez.
Yeah. Man, there's like what, 5 Tohos in there?
I believe so. There's quite a bit of Toho. Let's
Yeah.
see here. Yeah, a lot of Tohos, and even that didn't make it. There 8 Tohos overall, but only 5 of them made it into the top 50. So
It's an interesting time period from 2000 till 2009 because there's a lot of very formative indies, some of the best of all time for sure. But you go ahead like one more year, and suddenly you get like the juggernauts. There's a lot of guesses I had. It was like, is it time to say this? And then I look at the date, and it's like, no, this came out like 3 months after the cutoff.
Yeah.
I think that's just when the confidence began to start, really trying to get this stuff out.
It felt viable, and you had the opportunity to get it out there, and just have all those options. And I think when we get to do our next indie list, it's going to be, we're not going to have as many where like, I think I remember that one, because I just did not play indies of this era for the most part. It was still such a new thing, and I played a few, but man, I really started playing them after 2010.
Yeah, I think 2010 is just that magical year. Yeah, I think at that point too, there was a lot of jadedness with AAA, and it's like, well, look at these indies making all these really just fun games. And it felt like at that moment, it felt like you could ignore AAA and just be playing indies forever. I think you still can do that, but I remember I definitely had that sentiment in that time. It's like, these are all so good. Why would I even bother with full priced AAA games?
Right. Makes sense to me, but yeah, there is our indie list. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that, because we are going far from indies. Well, not too far. There's still indie titles released on the system. Whether or not they'll make the top 10 is doubtable, because next week our next top 10 we're discussing is the top 10 3DS games of all time.
Possibly Shovel Knight. We'll see. I don't think anything else really eclipsed on 3DS though. There's too many big Nintendo games.
Oh yeah. Any outright predictions for the 3DS, John?
I think number 1 is either gonna be, depending on taste, Kid Icarus or A Link Between Worlds. However, Pokemon Sun and Moon might make a surprise jump up near the top.
We'll have to see. But yeah, look forward to that. But thank you so much for watching as we continue to get through. Like it's weird to think about, but we are getting towards, we're in the latter half now.
Yeah, I mean,
the end is in sight.
3DS is new, right? That came out a few days ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it feels new because it was still around when the Switch 1 came out. So it's like, yeah, that's recent, right? Oh God, I'm old. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for watching this. Look forward to 3DS in a week. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to GVG, hitting the like button, and ringing that bell. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/GVGaming with plenty of extra perks. So until next time, bye.